You know how many times I told myself to kill my comfort zone?
Kill your comfort zone.
I'm talking to me right now. Get out of bed. Do something with your life. Quit scrolling. Quit fapping. Quit watching YouTube videos all day. Focus on what you want. Set a goal and achieve it. Don't lay around. Don't wait for anyone else to do it for you.
Do you find yourself always lacking motivation? Stopping and starting projects? Numbing yourself with distractions? Feeling confused and or anxious with your purpose in life? If you answered yes to any of those questions, then, at least on the tiniest level, I am the same as you.
My young lad, do you ask a dolphin how it swims?
No.
Or an eagle how it flies?
No.
That's right, you don't, because that's what they were made to do. You are about to bear witness, my friends, to one of the greatest technological advances in modern history. Behold!
Jordan Peterson says the bane of our society, or our greatest struggle, is that we have nothing to work for.
I mean, we might not have the same struggles as, our predecessors in life, but that doesn't mean we don't have struggles.
Everything comes too easy. When we have everything easy, there's no need to do anything. When everything is easy, we become our most decadent, our most degenerate, our most confused and depressed. Peterson says that's why we are depressed and anxious, because life is just too easy. This really is one of the best times to live in, but that's not necessarily a good thing.
I mean, surely you guys have heard that quote where it's like, good times create weak men create bad times create strong men, and strong men create good times.
Wow.
When things are easy, it becomes much easier to be self-destructive and develop bad habits. When you're a young man and you have the abundance of energy granted to the typical human, and you have reason to put yourself to work,
you can work like a maniac. You can work until your face literally falls off. You can expend all the energy that you have in a day.
It's what we've been doing for generations. Think about what your grandparents were doing at your age.
Me personally, my grandfather was leaving his country.
Leaving his hemisphere to work full-time as a manual labourer right after the Second World War destroyed his country. Regardless, you'd be surprised at how much power you have as a young man, and unfortunately the world causes us to waste it. Video games, entertainment,
porn, drugs, alcohol.
All the things that cause us to forget that we have something that I like to call shin energy or core energy, the limitless abundance that we have just beneath the layer of pain or discomfort, always within us, waiting to be tapped into.
I'll allow it.
As a young man, actually as humans, we should be constantly creating and destroying in order to thrive. And these two concepts are not mutually exclusive.
We have to destroy our bodies in the gym to create muscles.
We have to destroy land to create a house. We have the innate urge to break and destroy, even to our physical or emotional detriment, like injury or heartbreak. And why?
Because break down means build up. Break down means break through.
Most of us, however, focus too much on the good, right? Associating the positive or yang energy, if we're talking yin and yang, with beneficence, and the negative yin with maleficence. That is not the case. Positive is not always good, and negative is not always bad. Knowing that destruction, death, breakdown, decay are just as integral to our nature as creating, life, and build up, we cannot ignore the fact that you gotta break shit to make shit. And sometimes you gotta kill to live.
At least in the, survival, biological, evolutionary sense of the word.
So why do we still fear death? Why do we run from yin?
Because as a society,
We are veiled in illusory comfort.
Everything comes so easy that we are allowed to stagnate.
But can you think of any point in your life where stagnation delivered you with fulfillment?
The only way to remain sane is expose yourself willingly and wholly to pain and suffering. You have to break your comfort zone to build your life. And it's especially hard for us now because as humans, it's been a minute throughout history where we've had the opportunity to watch TikToks all day,
Or bust 3 nuts throughout the day and eat whatever we want?
because the government is literally paying us to stay home. We are addicted to dopamine or comfort, and it is our duty to ourselves to destroy the mechanisms in which we can so easily and accessibly deliver ourselves with instant pleasure. Even in the archetypal story of Jesus Christ, or whatever messianic figure you want to use, he shows us that something has to die or be sacrificed for something else to build and grow around it. One of the things that COVID has shown us is how weak our mindsets are as a society. We cannot save all life. To do so would be against the literal code of nature that we are all bound by, whether we like it or not.
now obviously I'm not saying that we need to let people die or not fight the virus. I'm just using it as an example.
What?
A red pill for most of us to swallow is that we need death to live. All living entities are like phoenixes. Rising from the ashes is as prevalent in the galaxies we are yet to discover as it is to the smallest living units of life in cells.
There's nothing wrong with understanding that shit needs to die.
What would happen to a baby if their umbilical cord was never cut? You gotta break that maternal instinct inside yourself.
I mean, it's all well and good to say that we need to kill our maternal side. I wouldn't say kill entirely because, as you know, everything in this world works in balance. I keep talking about the yin and yang example. You can't just kill one of the aspects. So I guess what I'm saying is not to kill the materialistic side of life that we exhibit, but to notice that it is being overrepresented right now, and that we need to have more of a balance between Mother Earth and Father Time. Because only through the acknowledgement of the transience of life
Can we work towards our purpose?
And the only luxury is time.
Time as in Father Time. Culturally, we have forgotten the importance of initiation through pain and suffering. Not only that, most of us actively avoid pain and suffering for as long as we can, all our lives, and then wonder why we feel anxious. Maybe your body is telling you something you need to listen to. Alright, so I realized that I didn't really put some practical tips on how to exit your comfort zone. So I've got some psychophysiological things that could probably help you just get, a bigger boost of energy, or enhance your disciplinary skills or your self-control skills to actually put yourself in, positions where you have something to lose or you risk something. Like what that is literally just what exiting your comfort zone is. So meditation, controlling your diet, exercising regularly, sleeping at the same time every day, limiting your use of drugs and alcohol, making sure your body's supplemented and, you've got all the necessary vitamins and minerals in your diet that can, help you just function optimally as a human being. And yeah, so all of these things, even putting one of them into practice or two of them, all of them, they'll help you to just remain a bit more centered and a bit more balanced. And this is from my experience also, because I've done all of these things. Give you a lot more confidence and allow you to have like a base or a foundation where you feel like you can always come back to, even if you're not always there. So yeah, I guess that's where it starts. So back to the video. Your body is literally hard-coded with the knowledge of hundreds of thousands of people who came before you in the form of genetic data. In generations not too far before us, tyrannical leaders would change the political and social environments to their will by force. Force that was underpinned by violence.
compliance was mandated through violence and death.
Picture Nazi Germany or a gulag.
Time for a bit of argy-bargy.
The only difference is that the revolution will not occur through violence. You are not going to be forced to do anything by gunpoint like your predecessors may have been. It happens now through comfort and addiction. We will dispose of all our sovereignty, all of our rights, and give our freedom and dignity away in the name of convenience.
Really?
I think there was a Black Mirror episode about this. Big tech will be the next dictator. You want to have your groceries delivered this week or your car to run today? Make sure that you think the right way and you don't get engaged with those who may happen to think otherwise. Our technology is our ball and chain, and it isn't hard to foresee the roadmap to a civilization where even our inner thoughts may become public property. Think about it. What happens if you have a computer that you refuse to constantly update? Even though you know that each update, more and more of your personal information is being stolen, more and more of your data is being mined, and more of your rights are being infringed upon. No matter what, unless you get the update, your computer will get a virus. The only reason we comply is because of fear of discomfort, fear of death, fear of yin, fear of exclusion, and fear of being outlawed by society, and I refuse to operate by fear.
Do whatever you're going to do, but you're not going to bully me, no matter how many people tell me, stop believing in yourself. Stop saying what you can do. I refuse to follow those rules that society has set up.
Only when we watch movies or look back on history do we love or root for or even accept the entity who goes against what society is telling them no matter what.
And as the main character of a movie like this, say a Truman Show or a Matrix or a Free Guy, which I just recently watched, it's easy to use hindsight for the audience to see that this is right and this is wrong, because we know we're not actively participating in the story, we're just observers. But when we are actively participating in the story, and it's hard for us to take a step back as observers, it becomes a lot harder for us to use foresight instead of hindsight.
The only way to create things for yourself, the only way to opt out of what will likely become your enslavement, if it hasn't already, is the ability to look in the mirror when you need some help. But hey, although the conviction in my voice might tell you otherwise, I'm actually not God. And if you're okay with the future that I'm talking about, by all means, do not dare cross the thresholds of your comfort zone. Nobody's forcing you to do anything.
And therein lies the problem. Because we have exited the food chain, because we are no longer a part of this biological evolutionary hierarchy, we have to force ourselves to exit our comfort zones. Because if nobody else does, we don't have nature anymore right behind us saying, if you don't do this, you will die. If you don't eat, you will die. You need to find food. You need to be safe, find shelter. We've evolved past the immediate need for all of these things. All of our survival needs are met. And now is when it becomes hard to actually force yourself outside of the box that everybody puts you in.
The only way, in my eyes, to help yourself get out of anxiety, become more confident, be better, do more, is to be independent.
And I'm not talking about isolating yourself, because as we are slowly coming to realize, in the whole climate of where the world's going, isolation will kill you. You can't just be by yourself. But it's about your willingness to empower yourself that empowers others to try, which is what I'm trying to live by, right? Because like I said in one of my previous videos,
The only real change you can make in this world is by changing yourself.
if you empower yourself, by default you empower others.
So when I compare myself to Steve Jobs or Walt Disney, Howard Hughes, David Stern, Michelangelo, Da Vinci, Jesus, or whatever it is, I'm saying these are my heroes. These are people that I look up to. This is the type of impact I want to make on the earth.
We love artists because they empower themselves to get in a position that nobody else has gotten to prior to them, just by being themselves, or sports people for that matter. Everyone you look up to is following this rule. They have to force themselves out of their comfort zone to become great.
Be independent, build and create. And the only way to do that is to first destroy. And the first thing to destroy is your comfort zone. You got to have something to run away from and something to run towards. And if you were paying attention, I just gave you both of those things. There is a reason everything is so accessible. In a world where everybody's trying to charge you for every single little service they bring to you, you got to think about, why is the product that I'm using free to me? Why is porn so accessible? Why is it free to make a Facebook account? There is a reason that right now, in this very point in time, you are being incentivized to do nothing.